Hey guys. Anyone in here yet? Not yet. Hey Dan, hey John. Gosh, what do we do for fun on Wednesday night in Australia? Hey Tinker. Machine NZ, hey. Yeah, you got the timing right. I unfortunately got the timing wrong last week, and I'm sorry about that. I'm really a bit hopeless at that. And I meant to have a video up or have this scheduled a lot earlier so that we got the timing right, but it just didn't happen this week either. Hello everyone. It's Elliptical Man there. There's not much really to report. I had a day at the foundry on Sunday with mixed success, to be honest. I brought back some castings. I did a set of fairly rough traction engine castings. I had this set of castings on Etsy for a while, and this is the last order, I think. So I've done them and they're ready to post off. I did a couple for Adam Carmichael. Hey JB. For a milling machine conversion thing that he's spending his life being passionate about. And I cast one of the steadies and it didn't turn out particularly well, so we tossed it back and it was going to get poured again. And whether I get up this weekend to get it or not, I'm not sure. But anyway, that wasn't a particularly successful weekend, but I did pick up these castings. These are iron, and I'm kind of feeling a bit sort of lucky to have them, actually, as this one too. These are really nice casting, actually. This has come up really nice off my pattern. Really pleased about this. I haven't even given them a scrub up yet. And this, oh my gosh, that's heavy. Oops. I'm going to cast a steady in gunmetal, mostly because the foundry man who casts iron has had a hernia operation and a few other things, and he's out of commission for 6 weeks. So that's not going to happen just now. Hey, Morris. So this is a project that I made patterns for probably 6 months ago, and nothing happened. There's a split pattern for this one. Yeah, it would be a bit sort of stocky. So it's not so much that, it's lifting boxes and things around, boxes full of sand and that sort of thing. You've got to take it easy. So we're not pouring iron for a minute. This is cast really nice. And this one, it's also a 2-piece pattern. This is cast nice too. This is really heavy. It's got to have a fair bit of metal off it. This one I got cast a while back, and this is in, I think it's bronze or gunmetal. I think it's probably gunmetal. Here's this one. And this one's gunmetal too, but I'm thinking that probably we're going to pour this one again because we've got a bit of shrinkage here, and I reckon when I clean this up that I'm going to find that there's not enough meat in here to really do anything with. So I'm probably going to take this one up and cast him back again. Gunmetal's nice to machine. Really is. It's a really nice metal to do anything with once you get all the sand and crap out of it. These actually want taken over the sink in a good scrub with clean running water and dish soap. Get all the sand out of them before we even think about machining them. So who knows what this is? There's also a block of bar to match the same colour. And that was this pattern here. So these are all the bits to start this project. Yeah, it's a fairly complicated little kit. This book here, pretty awesome if you see a copy. The simple lathe and its accessories fully illustrated. This guy on the back is the expert at the simple lathe. Obviously, he's got a dust coat and a collar and a tie, so probably he's the man who you need to know if you've got a simple lathe like that. Cool book. It's English. And it's got how to make things and lots of cool attachments, milling attachments, and drill presses. But in here there's a sketch. I'll just find it. Here. Elevation and sections of a chuck for oval metal turning. Now, with a title like that, who can't be sort of half interested in that? So I modelled it up in 3D just to see how it worked, and certain members of my community goaded me into getting some patterns made. And now I've got castings, I probably should make it. Can probably give you some sort of idea how it works. This goes on the headstock of the lathe, and there's a thumb screw on each side to adjust it in and out or sideways. And this cam's machined, and this cam ring runs on that, and it's offset sideways. This is attached through these two slots to this piece. It's a dovetail slide on here. Gosh, this is heavy. Whoa, there's a lot of metal to come off this. When this moves, this slide goes backwards and forwards. The amount that this piece is offset. So all this goes together something like this. Is, whoa, that weighs about 6-7 kilos, I reckon. Hopefully we get a little bit lighter before we start spinning it around at high speed. But that's how that works. This moves backwards and forwards on here, with a thread for the spindle here and a thread for the spindle here. So as it turns, this cam ring moves it backwards and forwards on the cam and gives you an ellipse, maybe. Hey Raymond. Tommy Gun Machining, the man with the quick change gearbox. So that might work if we can get some of the metal off this so that these are actually manageable. This probably needs to be hollow, and it needs to be quite a lot lighter, probably about half that weight. This one too, I think, needs to be quite a lot lighter, but this one does just spin. Hey Craig, you're doing great. We were early. This one is in two parts when it's finished, and it's got a springs to hold it together on the cam. So some interesting setups there. Anyway, that's sort of ready to start anytime I get a spare few days. Don't know what these castings are like. And they might machine up all right. Raymond, I'm still trying to get my head around this. I didn't explain it very well, but I don't understand it very well. It's kind of complicated. Hey, Adam. Hey, Donkin. I don't really have an easy answer for this, but probably by the time we get some parts machined and looking like they go together, it might work. But these are really nice castings, and they look like they're soft enough to machine too, which is also really a good thing. Someone should scan that book. There's about 150 pages. At this point, I'll bear you in mind if I find time to do it. But there's some pretty cool stuff in here. It's all a little bit antique-y. Live centers, drivers. The Boldy and Lennon precision lathe. The EXE bar bed lathe is kind of junk. The Adept, Super Adept. Whoa, that's a bit flash. And Myford, new Myford 3.5-inch back geared and screw cutting lathe. That's an M type, I think. Gosh, that dates it pretty well. Junk. Grayson, another EXE. The round bed Drummond was still in production, so that dates it. Gosh, dates it pretty well. Sort of late 30s, maybe. So there's some cool stuff in here. Wood turning pattern makers lathes, jigs for testing lathes, comb pulley equations, drilling attachment for the lathe. Everyone needs one of them, or not, and circular saw attachment just in case we felt that was a good idea. I've got 2 copies. So, hey Mark, I've got 2 copies of this. If someone wants to scan it and make available for distribution, I'll post them a copy. How's that? You can't get much luckier than that. It probably won't be the nicest copy, and it'll probably be the rough one. But if someone wants to take the time to scan it, I'll send them a copy. There you go. I feel a bit bad because about 6 months ago, someone did a video on making thumb screws for this, and I never ever got them done. So there's some cool stuff in that box. This is the other project I'm working on. Not going to show you much about this, but give you some idea of the size of this. It's a fairly big engine. It's a 6-inch ruler. Hey Curly. You find it out for yourself. Send me an email. We'll get it sorted. Look, if you want to scan it, we'll talk. Email me, please, Tinker, and we'll do something about that. I think you said first, so that's right. Everyone like a copy. I would love to get it scanned. There's a few books I'd like to scan, but to be honest, I haven't got time to sit down and do it. This is petrol engine. It's not quarter scale, Raymond. It's 3/4 full size. So the full size one, if you have a look at Double Boost's videos on this engine he's bought, the full size one's quite big. But this is quite a complicated pattern. It's split this way. It's going to have a core block on here. Yep, you've got it, Raymond. You've got it. This is a 3/4 size model of that. There's a complicated core in the bottom here, because all this needs to be undercut because the gears are in here behind this ledge, and there's space in here, and all this is undercut in under here and through here. So there's a complicated core in here, and there's also a core that runs through here, and there's a core in the bottom here for the water jacket. There's a few detail bits. There's a place for an oiler and water jacket pieces, and there's some other dogs and pieces, and the bearing's still got to go on here. But this needs a sand back and another coat of paint. But we'll wait till we get a bit going. I've decided to cast this in aluminium and this in iron if I possibly can, because I can do this immediately and it'll work and it's easy to machine, whereas this is a bit more difficult. So don't know when this is going to happen. Hopefully not too far away, but it's starting to look like the engine. There's a fair bit of work in finishing this here and making a core box to make this core and the core that goes through. I think I'm going to do it in 2 parts, with a core with a hole in it, and then we'll probably glue a round core in the whole length through the other core and sit them together. So there has to be a core print on here, some support, and some support in this end too, so that it all holds it centrally. I'm on a pretty steep learning curve with this. There'll be another dowel to line it up in the core print here somewhere when it's finished. But it's starting to look alright. It is complicated. It's probably more complicated than I should have really attempted, but I'm grabbing the flywheel from this off Martin Model. I haven't ordered it yet. This is a pattern I had, and it's too big really and a bit light. Anyone in Australia wants some Martin Model flywheels? JB, I've got yours sorted. Anyone else wants flywheels from Martin Model? Free postage. Can't get better than that. I'm going to get this posted anyway. I'm happy to do that, but if anyone wants to put theirs in with the order, I've got 18 pounds or something to make up, so that's 8 kilos, something like that. Have a look on Martin Model's website if you've got a project, and if you live in Australia, get in touch with me, send me some money, and we'll organise to get some flywheels here. So probably this week or the end of next week, something like that. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be ordering the flywheel for this. So if you want something, have a look on martinmodel.com and get in touch. But my email address is down the bottom. Beats me what else, really. Yeah, the time thing is going to mess you around there, Craig. I think the corn cut and grinder will take you about 4 lifetimes, and no one's got that. It's a crazy big project. I also got G.H. Thomas's universal divider, but they're both big projects. Yeah, kind of. I've got too many projects going on, really. The only answer is early retirement, and that's I can't see that as an option either at the moment. But I'm back on 6-day weeks next week, so I wanted to get as much of this done as I possibly can. So there was no video this last week. I had a video half made about converting crappy book pencil sketches like this one, this sort of thing, to actual working drawings, and how to scale them, things like that. I'm working on a video on that, the tools you use and the way it's done, or the way I do it. That's fairly interesting, and using this as an example and using this as an example. And I had hoped to get some more information about that steady, but we ended up tossing it back and getting another one cast. So that didn't happen this weekend. I just spent it messing around with this. You've just got to get started on things. That's the answer. You just got to get in and get started. I've got a nice set of patterns, and if nothing else, they're going to look nice on the shelf. We'll see how we go with this. I've got a nice set of castings, and they look good on the shelf too, but they weigh a ton. They're really pretty heavy. I've got these 2 locomotives here I want to get finished too. I've stalled on them because the engines on them are pretty fiddly, and I really need a reversing motor on my milling machine before I do them. I've attempted them once and had no luck, so that's why that's stalled, unfortunately. Spring belts arrived for the little traction engine. We can go ahead and get that finished. Still waiting on back order on my other Sherline chuck. That hasn't arrived. So it's pretty full on. I need to get in and make things, so that when that's going to happen. Mark, I try and keep work out of these videos as much as I can, because I've actually picked up a clock recently, and it's kind of awful, but it has a lot of potential. And I thought maybe I'd do a clock restoration, but I don't know if I want to go down that road at all. it's kind of a bit of a job, actually. And to do it to the standard that people expect clockmakers to do them to is more time than I've probably got to put into it. So yeah, Craig, I've got a new motor and I've got a VFD. I've just got to wire them up. It's as simple as that. And when that happens, we'll be set. At the moment, I want to make hay while the sun shines and get that steady cast and a few other little projects. And because I've got wood dust everywhere, like this place is filthy. I've given it a quick vacuum up tonight, and this is the first time I've been able to see this workbench all week from sawdust. I want to get some more pattern making done and get this sort of looking so that I can contemplate it a bit. And then I can clean up and get back onto other things. Who else is there? Sent my WW watchmaking lathe because I no longer have use to it for it. It's still a reasonable machine, and with a bit of TLC, it'll be a nice machine. But I don't really have space or time or interest in it, so I sent it to JB from Oz in Western Australia. If he can send me back probably about 6 months paid leave. Oh, good stuff, Tinker. We might get something finished, but the time at the moment is the thing that I haven't got, the same as the thing that everyone hasn't got. It's a bit crazy. Thanks, Tinker. I'll get in touch with you about that. I'm notoriously bad at posting things, as anyone who's listening to this who's ever got a parcel from me will know. Chirpy's not here, so he can't badmouth me. Yes, it's live. Class in session. Yes, we're live here. Well, yeah, probably tonight I'm dead from the anchors up, but yeah, we've still got blood pressure. I've also got a project, and we might run over that a bit. Give me a second. Chirpy's not in this morning. He probably slept in, which is a really good thing. But this is a joint project. It'd be really nice, actually. Mark, yes, you totally should drive down. Go and see A-Bomb. Chirpy and I are building this. You might have seen a video on the castings for the engine. And it's a little boiler. And this little engine. He's made patterns for this, and he's going to send me a set of castings. I'm going to make a little boiler. It's probably not like this one. This is pretty scary, actually. But something in the same spirit as this, probably. As a marine engine. Probably less soft solder and jam tins, but more copper and silver solder and stays and things. But that's happening, so keep an eye out for that. I've got materials to do my bit, and I think he's got materials to do his. We're both busy, but eventually that will happen. So go and check out Chirpy's Tinkering. Cool channel, he does some nice things. And does some cool stuff without very much equipment. So worth going and having a look at, but keep an eye out for collab videos there. Anyone else wants to do a collab video? Get in touch. Get in touch. If you've got an idea and a long timeline. I've seen, Craig, I've seen a couple TIG welded copper boilers. Double Boost did a tour of Doncaster Model Engineering. I think it was Doncaster Model Engineering Show. And that showed someone in the UK who's making TIG welded copper boilers. It's probably worth a look if you're interested in that. It was probably 6 months ago, but have a look back through John Mills's videos. I think that's where I saw it. He had some fairly interesting footage of TIG welded copper boilers. And it seemed then like it was a fairly sensible thing. And obviously it's up to code if someone's making them professionally. I'm not sure what the Australian boiler code says, but if there is an allowance in the Australian boiler code, maybe someone could check. I haven't got a copy of the big boiler code. It seems like a sensible way to make a boiler. I hate working copper anyway, full stop. Silver soldering and filing's all right, but that's about the limit to it. Apart from that, I don't think there's very much to report. It's been a fairly boring week. There's not much happening here. So I might sign off. Thanks everyone for joining in. It's good to catch up with you all. I'll be in touch, Tinker, about that book. And maybe we can put a link up in one of these videos to it if you keep an eye out at some point in the future. Don't expect miracles tomorrow. I think that covers it. I'm going to go and have some dinner, do a load of washing, all that sort of stuff. So thanks everyone. Be kind to each other, and more soon.